In 2032, Mars is still a barren frozen desert with no signs of life. But things are about to change because we're launching the first crewed mission to the Red Planet. This is the story of that crew. Four astronauts are strapped into their spacesuits in the cramped confines of the Mars-3 launch vehicle. Outside, the world is a blur of motion as they're shot skyward from the surface of the Earth. Commander Taylor, played by Chris Pratt, is calm but focused. Beside him is geologist Dr. Sharma, played by Priyanka Chopra. Opposite them sit Mark Watney, an astronaut and botanist and the youngest member of the crew, Russian cosmonaut Dmitry Shalunov. After several minutes, the shaking stops and Commander Taylor opens his eyes. The launch is over. He looks around at his crewmates, all strapped into their spacesuits in the tiny launch vehicle. It was a tight squeeze, but not nearly as bad as it would have been for their predecessors. I said we are in excellent condition, Dmitry says with a slight smile. But if you want me to speak English, I can do that too. The rest of the journey to Mars is uneventful. The four astronauts spend their time running tests, checking equipment, and preparing for what lies ahead. They know that once they land on Mars, they won't be able to return to Earth for several years. They will have to stay there until the next Mars ship comes to rescue them. This is one of the most dangerous missions ever undertaken by humans. If anything goes wrong, it could be a one-way trip. Finally, the time comes for the landing. The crew are strapped into their seats as the Mars-3 begins its descent through the thin Martian atmosphere. The landing is rough, but the crew are prepared for it. The ship touches down in a pre-selected site just beyond the horizon. A plume of dust and debris shoots skyward as the engines slow to a halt. The crew are silent, each one focused on their own thoughts. After a few moments, Taylor breaks the silence. "We did it," he says quietly. "We're on Mars." Once the dust has settled, the four astronauts climb out of the Mars-3 and onto the surface of Mars. They're wearing bulky spacesuits, but even so, they move with a surprising amount of ease. They take a few steps forward and one of the astronauts kneels down to pick up a rock. It's a simple gesture, but it's one that has been dreamed of for generations. The first human to walk on Mars. They plant a flag in the ground and take some pictures. Then they head back to the Mars-3. They know that they need to conserve their air and water, so they don't stay on the surface for long. But they've made history. As the days pass, the crew of the Mars-3 begin to explore their surroundings. They're looking for signs of life, but so far they haven't found anything. They do, however, find evidence that there may have been life on Mars in the past. The crew are excited, but they're also nervous. They know that they're on their own here. If something goes wrong, there's no one else to help them. One day, while exploring a cave, the crew finds something that makes their hearts skip a beat. It's a strange, metallic object that seems out of place in the barren landscape. But now that they've actually found it, they're not sure if it's a good thing or not. They know that this could change everything. But what exactly is this being? And what does it want? While Taylor struggles to make sense of what's happening, Sharma takes charge. She knows that they're in danger, but she also knows that they have to keep their cool. "We need to get back to base," she says to the others. "I don't know what this thing is, but I don't like it." The crew start to move away from the object, but it speaks again. "Do not be afraid," it says. "I am friendly." They freeze and turn back to look at the object. "How do we know that?" Dmitry asks suspiciously. "Because I am programmed to be helpful," the object replies. "I am here to assist you in any way that I can." Taylor steps forward cautiously and asks, "Who are you?" "I am your guide," the object replies. "I am here to help you understand this planet and its people." Before Taylor can respond, the object begins to move again, this time floating upwards and taking on a humanoid shape. The crew watch in amazement as it rises above them, revealing a face that is both beautiful and terrifying. "Come with me," the guide says. "I will show you the wonders of this planet." The crew exchange uneasy glances. They know that they should probably run, but they're frozen in place by what they're seeing. She also tells them that she is one of the last surviving Martians, and that she has been waiting for humans to come to Mars, so that she could help them understand the mistakes that the Martians made. The crew are fascinated by what the guide has to say, but they can't shake the feeling that they're being manipulated. They know that they should be suspicious of her, but they can't help but be drawn to her. After a while, the guide leads the crew to a vast chamber filled with strange devices and technology. "This is the heart of Mars," she says. "It is the source of all knowledge and power on this planet." Taylor suddenly remembers the strange metallic object they found outside. "Are these the nodes?" he asks. "Yes," the guide replies. "These nodes are connected to the heart of Mars. They allow me to communicate with you humans." Taylor realizes that they've been tricked. "Why did you bring us here?" he demands. "Because I wanted to show you the truth about Mars," the guide says. "I wanted to show you that there is more to this planet than meets the eye." Taylor is furious. "You could have just told us that," he says. "I couldn't risk it." The guide replies, "You humans are not like us. You are greedy and destructive. I knew that you would try to take the heart of Mars for your own, so I had to trick you into coming here." Taylor is shocked by what the guide has said. He knows that she's right, and he realizes that he and his crewmates are not the heroes of their own story. They're just pawns in a much bigger game. To be continued.